So this is one of the um, various interviews that we do. So and what the specific one is to do share a success story for one of our very esteemed clients today. Um, Before we move on to discuss the success story and then get to see who we will be introducing and talking about today, I want to take a couple of minutes to share with us what we do here at Rhemma Consult. Um, at Rhemma Consult, we offer a comprehensive immigration services that is specifically tailored to meet the diverse needs of our clients worldwide, which includes specialized assistance for individuals to self-petition for employment-based green cards, empowering them to take control of their immigration journey. Whether you are on employer seeking to harness global talent or a professional looking to invest in a US business, we are here to guide you through every step of the process. Our employment-based green card services cover a range of green cards, which includes the EB1. It also includes the EB2, the EB3, EB4, and then EB5 as well. But what I believe makes Rhemma Consult different is that here at Rhemma Consult, we understand that immigration is not just about paperwork, it's about dreams, um, it's about aspirations and building a better future. And that's why we offer very specialized services. And we will prioritize every client and support the client as much as possible. Today, we are going to be sharing a success story for one of our clients. Um, he has a lot of experience. He is an expert in issues of finance. But before I even discuss more about him, I'd like him to tell us something brief about himself because most of the things will be covered as and when we move on. So without wasting much time, um, Mr. Richard, do you mind telling us a little bit about who you are?
Thank you. I'm smiling because I've looked up to this date for day one. From the very first time I signed up with Rima. I've been looking for this day, so I'm excited. Yeah, so thank you. So as you can see my on the screen, my name is Richard Owusu Cyrus. I have a background in finance strategy, and I'm now studying law. And as Emmanuel just mentioned, mostly in finance and financial restructuring.
Um, I believe Mr. Owusu is being very humble. Just to give a little bit background about who we are speaking with today. He has a bachelor's of science in administration from the University of Ghana, Legon, an equivalency of a bachelor of science in applied accounting from Oxford Brookes University. Um, he also has a master of business administration from the University of East London. Um, he also has a Master of Science in Leadership from the London School of Business. More currently, he is pursuing a Master of Law at one of the most prestigious universities in the United States, University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. So yes, we get to speak with someone who has a wealth of advanced degrees as well as varying experiences. But um, first, I would ask, how do you feel about this approval notice? And I guess, are you satisfied with this outcome, Richard?
Very much. I mean, it's it's a roller coaster until you finally see approved, right? And then yes, you're excited. Yeah, I'm very excited. Very, very excited. I'm quite also grateful for it's been a long journey, right? So I'm quite grateful for the services of Rhemma as well. So I'm quite excited.
Okay, thank you. How did you learn about Rhemma Consult?
Actually, randomly. So I was speaking to a friend of mine who then we're talking about brainstorming what to do next after school. And then he said, oh, you should talk to my sister. My sister has some friends. So I spoke to the sister and the husband was like, oh, we have a friend who is into this. So he's actually going to have a success story this evening. So this is the link if you can join. So I didn't know anything until the same day that I joined Rhemma Consult of what you do. But I just heard of EB2 and read a few things about it. But yes, I heard it from a friend's sister.
Gotcha. And like most people would consult a lot of different firms and then finally decide that okay, I want to go with this firm. So fine, you heard of Rhemma Consult. Like, why did you still decide to go with Rhemma Consult? I guess people would want to know the why to help them make that decision if they want to or if they have to.
Sure. I mean, as I said, I'd known of EB2, but don't, and then done some few work about it. I've spoken to some professional firms. Some were
Mhm.
prepared to do it at no, if you don't win it, you don't pay sort of thing, but they were very expensive. And also some of the reviews I'd read about them and the amount of work that even though you are paying huge sums of money, um, these are well-known professional firms, right? You still have to do incredibly more because I remember I had a meeting with one trying to say, okay, how are we going to build the story? And it was more like, well, that's up to you, right? Whatever you say, that's what we do. So, but then I think when I spoke to when I watched the success story and I was like, I want to be here one day. Like I just want to be part of this. And I think the first conversation with one of your associates, and you kind of get the thing that he knows what he's talking about. Um, and he even on the first initial call, he suggested 2 or 3 things that he thinks is easy will fit my profile. So that was like, okay, these people know what they're talking about. Because one of the things I struggled to try to build was, okay, what endeavor? It just looked too complex, too confusing. But on my first call, he kind of explained it, which was like, okay, these guys know what they're talking about. So I stick with them.
Nice. Nice. And what were some specific factors or features of Rhemma Consult that stood out to you um, throughout this process?
Throughout this process, there's 2 phases to this process for me. Actually, let me digress. The first time I saw you, I was like, I want to sit at this seat to see the conversation that happens before somebody comes live. And today I realized you don't even check in, you don't even say you are live, right? You don't even talk to me about anything. So it's quite good to sit this side. Um, so it's all real. Anyway, but for me, there were 2 sides. One was I was quite excited to join, and it took a long time for my program to start. So during that time, it was really frustrating for me. And I was like, these people, what are they doing? And there was a complete different phase when you started, when Rhemma started. So from that phase to getting approval, incredible service, constant
Right.
response. We did, I mean, to be honest, I don't know if they've contacted you. I've referred you to at least 6 or 7 people already.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
the process from when we start to when we finish, incredible. Even when we were waiting for it, the constant notification, checking and updating me was great. I mean, but before it started, that's a whole different story. So that was my experience. Yes.
Yeah. Definitely. Thanks for sharing that as well. Now, a lot of people are most likely who are here are most likely people who are considering NIW maybe either very soon or in the near future. And so I guess we want to start with can you provide some background information about um, your expertise, right? Like who is Mr. Richard Owusu Series?
So I've had a roller coaster thinking my experience is good enough, I should easily get this, to the process when you start doubting because you get to know what is really required in this process. Like, do I even meet this criteria? And to the point of Rhemma stepping in to help and to kind of guide through the process. But in terms of what I do personally, my background, as I said, is finance and strategy, mostly helping businesses in distress for performance improvement, value creation sort of environment. So most of the things that I do is maybe in an organization. So I'll give an example. One of the companies I worked for was the biggest gold mining company in Zimbabwe. They wanted to list on the stock exchange. So they'll kind of bring me in, kind of help make it ready for listing. So my activities will involve reorganization, restructuring, um, yeah, systems and processes, just making sure everything is set.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for sharing that. Over the years, you've had a varying experience, right? For example, you've worked a little bit in UK, you've worked a little bit in Africa, and all over the world. Like, do you mind sharing some of your experiences and some of the roles you played, either as part of a contract or as part of a director role as well?
Sure. I mean, I spent the last 20 years, particularly at the home in the UK, but worked in Africa, Russia, Europe, as you just mentioned. So I started my career in financial services in the UK, where it was mostly banking financial services. And then I got into investment banking. Investment banking side, initially I started from finance, but then I moved into a role where I worked with the investment bankers as an internal consultant. So most of the deals that they will do, they are raising financing. They're trying to help businesses to raise finance. As a finance specialist, I kind of go through the deal structure that they've done, the way they intend to raise shares, like treasury bills, treasury shares, on other things. Make sure that it will work regulatory wise, it will work tax wise, it will work IFRS and GAAP wise before they pitch it to the client. So that then took me to Russia and the CIS regime to kind of check some of these things. And then from there, I joined the gold mining company in Zimbabwe. That also has access in telecommunications and energy, in Mozambique, Botswana, Tanzania, DRC, that we moved around a few times. And I've also had the opportunity of working for a yacht manufacturing company. We manufacture yachts in the UK. And yes, it's been exciting. I also joined EY, where we did incredible projects around supply chain and restructuring and that things.
And I do know that one of the things that the USCIS really enjoy to see is professional certifications. Do you mind sharing some of the professional certifications you hold?
Yeah, so I have three chartered certifications. So I'm a chartered banker, I'm a chartered fellow for securities and investments, I'm a chartered fellow for an accountant. I'm a CFA level 3 candidate as well. That is on the certification side.
Yeah.
And I also have Prince 2 as in form of project management.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like when the case of Mr. Richard came here, it was more or less like how do we help discuss the various experiences over 20 years, so like over 2 decades of experience in the world of finance and restructuring, and specifically helping to enhance financial stability and efficiency, more precisely in struggling business. So we looked at the varying experiences he has, the multiple degrees, the multiple certification, and essentially with his expertise in financial management, corporate restructuring, and some works he's done in risk management and strategic project leadership. More recently, his master's degree in law also helps build the legality of some of these restructuring as well. We proposed to the United States government, arguing that Mr. Richards' objective is really to foster sustainable economic growth and resilience in the US businesses, which he's done for many organizations across the world, like he initially said. So, um, would you say that you were so confident of this approval, and like or how did you feel before the submission, and after the submission? Like, how did you feel about like an approval for your case?
Okay. Before I started the whole process, I was very extremely confident. I guess it's slim because remember, I've spoken to some few people who are giving me this assurance that it was going to be easy. And then I think when the process started and I saw the first information, I was like, this is hard. This is not going to be a walk in the park. So that drove me to start reading into what they look for. Then I realized that it's not, you can have so many qualifications and still not get it. So my confidence then dropped significantly. And then I think there were some times I'll go quiet, like, how is this going to work? Because you start doubting yourself. And I think the story that was told was good, right? I think that's where the difference was. When we sent it, I was very shaky, and it didn't help because my flatmate also had received his. So he keeps asking, have you got it? Have you got it? So it was really, but yeah, I think my confidence was high. Then it dropped when I saw what was required to actually get a case done, approved. But then it improved as we built up the final case and we put everything together, seeing the
Yeah.
work that has been going in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have a worth of experience that you bring on board. For example, like, having that having that proficiency from University of Ghana in administration, and then applied accounting from Oxford Brookes University, and then a master's of business administration and finance from University of East London, and then another master of science in leadership from the as a Sloan Fellow, from the London Business School, and more currently, very prestigious University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign as well. Like, all of those speak to your expertise that you built over time, intellectually, and then of course the decade of 2 decades of experience. So definitely was in our eyes, we felt like you had a better chance of getting an approval, because not only have you had these multiple degrees, but you've had varying experiences, worked all over the globe, like, and then we had letters to be able to also back it as well. Now, most people that are considering these NIW sometimes tend to have uh, mixed feelings about the issue of whether you need citations, or you have to get citations, else you won't get an approval. So just for clarity, like, as we stand today, do you have any citations? Like, do you have any like citations, as we would say, in their words?
No, I have zero citations.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's like I just specifically asked so that, like, I know I already know the answer, but it's kind of to help people understand that this whole process is nuanced, right? Citations is one of the ways that you can, of course, show that you are an expert, but there are also other ways that can show that you are also, your expertise have been used by different companies, right? So, for example, in his work at Metallion Corporation in restructuring and optimizing mining operations, his expertise were being used by multiple countries in Africa, which included Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and Tanzania. Similarly, in the UK, he always says Felon Yachts. For me, I'm from Ghana, so I would say Felon Yachts. His leadership in restructuring the companies systems, ERP systems were impeccable. So all of these different experiences was how we leveraged his expertise being implemented and used across the globe. This is to say that in as much as citations is one of the ways to make an argument, there are other ways to also argue that you meet the NIW requirements without necessarily having a citation, right? So, because for someone who has like worked through the ranks as a strategic project director, associate director, a finance director, executive director, and a manager in many different corporations. And it does speaks to the fact that people are leveraging his expertise across the globe as well. So if you are here considering it and you don't necessarily have a citation, I would say that consider first having a discussion so that we can help as well as that. So if I may ask, what is your overall impression about the petition that was submitted? Um, how did you feel about it, and what if people were curious about the level of expertise and the level of personalization and precision that went to it? Could you speak a little bit about how you felt when you received the first draft?
So when I received the first draft, to be honest, I was like, wow, a lot of work goes into this. I think I thought in my head is quite easy, as I said initially, until I see the first draft and the amount of work that had gone in. And even from the very first one, you can see is there's a lot of research, a lot of work that has been done. And for me, I think after the first one, I was more confidence was building because if with the story and everything has been knitted together so perfectly, was not going to work, then there was no way anything else was going to work, right? So the confidence was like, okay, this is it. I couldn't fault the draft. I think from the initial work we did, you see that for the quality work that was coming was good.
Okay. One of the things that people really want to understand is transparency. Did you feel like we were hiding components of the petition, the exhibit? Did you feel any hidden parts in the final petition? In other words, did you find transparency?
Yes. I found transparency and I found diligence. I found every box ticked, everything checked together. That was incredible. I think I'm a very detailed oriented person, but I think I found somebody that was 2 or 3 times more detailed oriented than I was. So we checked every single box, we ticked everything off. For me, I think, as I said, the second half of the process was very good from beginning to end, especially in the submission point where everything is checked, every page is counted, everything is knitted together to make sure that it's presented was a good one.
Got you. Did you have a copy of the final petition? I'm just asking because, like, I just want to make people to get a sense, somebody who is considering Rhemma Consult to get a sense of what the person like did. So, did you get a final copy of whatever we submitted?
Yes, I do
Okay.
have a copy of everything that was submitted. I mean, the whole process, once it starts, is very transparent, right? From beginning to end, you see everything. You are told what folders to open, what to do. Everything is very, very transparent. I mean, from my point of view, it was extremely transparent compared to some things that people that I've seen. It's like it's in a black box. No, but this one, everything was transparent. I knew what was being said. I know what was being supported. I know I and also have a final copy of everything.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, because I know that some of the issues that people tend to have is like, yeah, I don't have a copy of whatever you're submitting. So it's great that like you have that copy as well. And thanks for confirming that with us. So I guess you may have already mentioned this, but would you recommend our services to others?
I've already recommended it to a lot of people. Um, and I think I tell them to start early. I think for me, I was slightly fortunate that I've had the privilege of working for a long time. But even that, there was still a lot to be done. So for somebody who is thinking about it to meet the criteria, I say, look, speak to Rhemma early. They can guide you on what to do whilst you wait and to do it. And I've already recommended, I think, 6 people, and I'll still recommend anybody that talks to me about it.
Yeah, yeah. And like in light of what you're saying, I guess one of the things that comes in mind is, somebody is here for the very first time. This might be the very first time he or she is hearing about EB2 NIW. What would be your advice? Like you said earlier on, like you've been very fortunate to have worked a lot, like it's been a while you submitted your case, but if I still remember correctly, like some of the you had worked as you were a full board member for the Money Matters Community Bank. You were also a full board member for the Charity Works. You were also a member for the Neuro Board Mastermind and a mentor for the ACCA, you know. And so I guess like what would you advise somebody who just entered the United States for the first time or is going through a degree and is thinking about the possibility of NIW? What would you be that like top-notch advice you give?
So, I mean, I think if you intend to stay in the US, immigration is a key thing. And one of the well documented ways of being able to stay as a professional is through these EB2, EB1 criteria processes. And you can read, for me, I read a lot. I'm already studying law, right? So reading is not difficult. But the more I read, the more challenging and confusing. And you read Reddit and it's confusing. It's like you qualify, it's like you don't qualify. It looks so find yourself an advisor you can trust who has done this process several times and can walk you through it, kind of see where you are, where you want to get to, and kind of walk you through the ways and means to get there, right? The work that I need to done to get there. That would be my advice. I'll recommend Rhemma Consult. Speak to them, tell them where you are, and they'll guide you through it. As I said, it's from the one that I sat in this room. I still it's just over a year. I saw a date pop up on my phone. Um, I said I want to be at the other side, and I remember I was sent an email to Emmanuel and the team, and I was like, I want to be part of this success story, right? And I think if you start early, it helps, right? It puts everything in order and you work towards a timeline which works. That'll be my advice.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I remember all the emails, some of the emails were very, very long. This guy, those lawyers, those studying law, they can worry a lot. But yeah, thanks for sharing that advice. And I really want to take the time to say thank you for like, having this opportunity to talk to us and then share the success story about it. At this moment, I would usually want to have the floor open for a few couple of questions, and after that, we can try and then wrap it up. So, if you have any question or questions, please feel free to ask, and then I'll try as much as possible as time permits to answer them as well.
Hello, Emmanuel.
Yes, Gideon. Yes,
Yeah. Good evening. I hope you're good.
yes.
Yeah, just a quick one, please. Um, Let me say, I also got in touch with you just not too long ago, a couple of months ago, and also I've had the opportunity to listen to a few success stories. I think this will be the third one I've listened to from you since I got in touch. And I have been asking myself that is it possible for someone in school to get it, especially yeah, PhD student who maybe just completed a master's and then moved on to PhD. So like with kind of unlike Mr. Richard, he has considerable work experience, but those on the other side who just moved from school from bachelor to master, master to PhD and all that. those of us in that category, do we have any chance? And perhaps have you had a success story from or with such a person before?
Okay. Um, yes. Yes, you don't have to have enough experience. I don't want to say enough. You don't have to have 2 decades of experience like Mr. Richard, who's serious, to be able to qualify. Yes, so the while having this experience is very, very strong. We've also had other clients that um, have a little bit less experience, right? And I think in a couple of months, we are going to have. First, we've had some in the past, but more currently, we've had success with other clients that you describe, right? The whole argument of building the NIW is really contingent on the requirement, and so if we, there may be so many ways, even though you may have just completed your bachelor's and then moved into your master's, there are so many things depending on who you are that can still help you qualify, right? So, um, I think the next interview that we're about to have is going to be somewhat similar to the experience you are describing. And I think the next one as well. And we've had a couple of approvals like that. So to answer your question, yes, you don't need to have 2 decades of experience, but yeah, it's the reason why I can't say yes or no is every individual is different, right? And the argument we build for every individual is really dependent on the experiences and the CV of the person. So yes, you don't need 20 years of experience to get NIW. We've had clients that have had less years of experience, but their work and its impact is very strong on the United States and its economy, right? And in this current economy, I mean, when I say current economy, with regards to Trump's administration, things that they are looking that would really help build the cases, issues regarding economic impacts, like how is your work having an economic impact in the United States? Also, how is your work making you as globally competitive? Now every country is trying to be um, globally competitive, right? So if what you are doing has economic impact to the United States, and if what you are doing puts US on top of other countries, like just to mention a few, China, Russia, then these are things that could speak to it. So it's not necessarily about having 20 years of experience. It just happens that Mr. Richard, who is also an ACCA chartered fellow, and then having this worth of experience, his expertise have a lot of economic impact, especially for economically depressed areas in the United States. So to answer your question, yes, you don't need 20 years of experience, but it is the worth of your work that would speak for you. Hopefully, I didn't babble too much.
Yeah, I get it. You are
Gideon,
speaking.
if I can say something to you quickly, one of the things that gave me confidence that I could easily get this was the first success story that I was on. The person didn't have a lot of experience. So that's where my first false confidence came from. I was like, okay, then I can easily get it. Because I think personally, I think talk to him, show him what you've got, and they'll tell you a story that what you can do, even if you can't do it right now. And I think that's where the value is. If you wait till you finish PhD, that's 5 years down the line. Who knows what would have changed, right? So get the structure now and work towards it. That would be my advice.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Iman, good evening.
Good evening.
This is Iman. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I think Latif introduced you to me, Penda. He said you happen to be his classmate back in UCC Ghana. So I got in touch with you, and then you asked me to submit my CV, which I did, and you asked for subsequent appointment. Currently, I've not been able to, but I will do that. But just want to say you are doing a great job, and keep it up. Per the testimonies I'm hearing, this even in clearly speak for itself. It doesn't really need like much talk, but I can see that much work is being done from your outfit. And currently, like I want to ask, so if I'm trying to consider the NIW, and then you are considering work experience. So let's say I've done some work in Ghana, which like give me that kind of experience, and then here in the US, I've not had that much experience. How do you marry these two experiences? Is it something that can also be like you can still apply for NIW in case, let's say, Kerala, I will be done with my master's in May.
Okay. So I guess the question is like, and I guess correct me if I'm wrong. I guess the question is, if you've had experience in any country other than the United States, does it play a role in making a case for NIW?
Yes, please.
Is that fair? Okay, yeah. So the answer is correct. Yes. Some of the clients we've had in the past have never stepped foot in the United States. You don't need to be in the United States to apply for this process. In fact, if you think about the concept of immigration, immigration is meant for somebody who is yet to enter into the country. It so happens that some of the clients are already in the country, so it makes it feel like you have to have done something. But yeah, like we've built cases for clients that have not done any or have not even stepped foot into the United States. However, the implications of work, you could be outside the United States, but your worth and the implication of your work is far very much important for countries all over the world, right? For example, I always say that if you look at coronavirus like that, there were a lot of researchers all over the world that were studying the coronavirus even before it happened. I mean, variations of the coronavirus even before it happened. And so if someone is doing such research and there's an outbreak like corona, no one should say that like because I haven't stepped foot into the country, into US, and I haven't done anything in US, it doesn't mean what I'm doing currently doesn't have an impact for the United States. So if I guess the short answer is yes, you do not need to have work experience in the United States to be qualified for the NIW. Any work experience which we can show. It's not just about saying that, hey, I have this number of work experience. Like if you look at in the case of Mr. Richard Oposu, there were appointments letters, there were projects, there were letters from past employers to further support that he really did do the work experience in all of these countries. So yes, if you've had it in different places, including Ghana or anywhere else in the world, and we can attest to it through objective evidence, not subjective evidence, objective evidence, then yes, it could help build a case for an NIW. I think there is a question.
Okay.
Mr. Richard, did you bribe this man to ask this question?
It's funny. Every time I think I came on Success and I saw Emmanuel, I thought Emmanuel was your Emmanuel. So
No,
this
no,
question,
no.
this question kind of threw me off a bit.
No.
I have a question.
Could EB1A be an option for Richard, considering his worth of experience? Well, now that Richard is part of the family, he has to see me back door, and then we would discuss his EB1 options. Yeah, but yeah, it could be a possibility, especially with regards to his monetary, because having worked as a director for a couple of firms, it is quite obvious that his salary could be in the top 10% of his expertise, especially while he was in the United Kingdom. He's also played critical roles in well-distinguished organizations. He holds membership in prestigious ones like ACCA. And so, yeah, definitely a case could be built.
I have a question. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, yes. So I don't believe this is a question, but it's just like kind of curiosity. I actually had a consultation with Rhemma Consult 2 weeks ago, And then they created a folder for me to actually start uploading documents that are required. I think it's been 2 weeks now. So I was kind of, what is wrong? Is it that these people don't care about me anymore? So I was kind of like curious. I said, all right, today I'm going to join this meeting and actually try to follow up and see what is going on.
Yeah. So I didn't even see the question, but I would assume to know what you're trying to ask. So I'm guessing you said that you have yes, I remember the name. Samuel sounds very familiar. And I think I am the one who did it. Yeah, I tried to remember all my clients, except an associate interview. So with the way Rhemma Consult works, there is a current wait time to when we actually pick up your case. And usually at the end of every interview, we strive to let you know when it is likely your case will be picked up. And so what is happening is that the portal has been created for you. You've uploaded your documents. When the queue is up and it's your turn, we reach out to you and let you know that, hey, it's now time that we are going to file the case for you. So it isn't that like anyone has forgotten about you, but it is because we work in queue. We are a team of 5, and so we look at the workload and then we divide and then we conquer. So if we haven't gotten to you, it's not because of anything. It's just that you are in a queue, and once it gets to you, you would be notified. You know, our current turnout rate lies. The current wait list for the EB2 and NIW is about 45 days to 60 days. And that is when your case would actually be started. And once it's started, it could range between 3 weeks to 1.5 months or sometimes 2 months to build the first case. So that's kind of how we work here at Rhemma Consult. We're a little bit different. You know, most firms, you do the writing yourself and then you just send it over to them and then they fine tune it. Here at Rhemma Consult, the handle of the writing is upon the ourselves. And so that means that it takes a while and it takes time to build compelling cases for all clients. And due to our personalized attention we give, knowing that immigration is not just about paperwork, but it's about dreams and aspirations and building a future. That's the care and personalized attention that it goes into. Hopefully that answered your question. It's all yes. Okay, sounds good. It's almost 6:45, and today also happens to be a very memorable day in my life, and so maybe I won't be able to have any other question, but I want to thank you all for taking the
So
time
one last question.
to. Okay, sorry. Let me.
Yeah.
So that will be the last question. Yeah, that will be the last question. Okay.
So
I don't know if
Okay,
you saw my hand up, Rhemma, but okay.
can I proceed?
Yes, please go ahead. Yes, please go
So
ahead.
I was reading about the requirement for the EB2, and I realized that it at least like a 5-year experience and also like a master's or something. But someone like me, and I'm sure I have a couple of people who are also in a similar situation like me, I joined like a straight PhD program, and I'm now like working on some publications that I plan on getting one in this year and then a couple in maybe somewhere next year. But I'm now in my 4th year, and then my intention is to finish next year. And so I don't have a master's. Do you think it's a good idea for me to like start the application now, or like I should probably wait till I finish my school before I maybe?
If the 5 years full-time work experience after bachelor's degree is directly related to your current endeavor as a PhD student, then it is worth considering using the 5-year work experience in lieu of an advanced degree. However, if the 5 years worth of full-time experience after your bachelor's degree is not related to your current endeavor, then it makes sense for you to hold the PhD before you actually apply for the NIW.
Oh, okay.
Again, this is based on the question you asked me. So that it's not taken out of context if you happen to watch this later because it's a recorded version. You know what? I'll take the question
Yeah, Emma.
Yes. Let me take the
Yeah,
question
Emma.
from
Yeah, thank you so much. I need to get get back with you and then talk to you on that since I need to book the appointment and then we go ahead with that consultation. But I have one question on that EB1A. I want to know, do you have a situation where people just file with 3 criteria and then get approved? And then the second question is that, do you also have experience with people claiming membership in PMI and then it working out for them? I just want to know those
yeah,
two.
the first question has to do with do you have an experience with people making a claim for 3 criterions? Yes, by the interpretation of the AFM, which is the adjudicators field manual for the USCI's adjudication officers, you only need to show at least 3. So you don't need to show more than 3. 3 is good enough. However, there's something that is very important to note. Meeting the plain language requirement of the criteria is very different from meeting the final merit determination of the 3 requirements. So the answer is yes. We have built cases for people for just 3 requirements. You are not required to show more than 3. However, it is possible to even meet the 3 requirement and still be denied. Because meeting the 3 requirements is just meeting the plain language requirements. Let me give you a specific example. So let's say that you have publications, you have 3 publications. You have met the plain language of authorship in a publication. There's no doubt about it. Nobody can deny that. No officer can deny that. Let's say that you've served as a judge or you've reviewed for certain organizations in your field. Yes, you've met the plain language of the statements. Let's say the third one, you have played a critical role, you supported it with proofs that yes, indeed, you meet you serve at a critical role. You have met the plain language requirements of these 3. Now, for the final merit determination, officer can come back and say that, well, yes, you have publications, you have served as judge, you've played critical role in organizations, but it doesn't make you fall within the top 10% of your field. And so that's when the argument is, what about your publications make you fall within the top 10%? What about the serving as a judge? What about serving as a critical role? So, yes, the argument is not really, I always tell people who consider EB1 that the argument is not really about meeting the plain language. It's very easy to meet the plain language. That is not even up for discussion. But being able to convince objectively, not subjectively, objectively that at the final merit determination, you do in fact meet you fall within the top 10% as a case. Now to the second question, with the issue about membership, the plain language requirement is very clear that you need to have been a member of an organization in which the requirement of being a member of the organization is not based on money, it's not based on the number of years of experience you have, right? And however, it's based on outstanding achievements. And it's even if you look at the past people who have been called upon as members, if you look at their worth, and then so you look at the people who are judging people to become part of the group, if you look at the merit of those things is what USCIS look at. So with membership, it specifically details a little bit more, just like for other criterion as well. Hopefully that answered your question as much as it could be. So again, it's been awesome having you all here.
Sorry, Rhemma, I don't know if I could ask my question. Apologies to interject. Apologies if you would give me the permission to raise my question, please.
Okay, please go raise your question.
I think first of all, like to thank you very much for having this organized. I know I've watched more than like 5 or 6. I just always set my alarm because always very interesting hearing all those inspiring stories. So, and then second of all, congratulations, Richard. I know it's been like a very interesting and long journey for you, which has been nerve-wracking from what you said. So congrats, for having that sorted. I did have a consultation last year, August, with Augustine also. And I did follow up. I think we had a couple of consultation sessions, I think one anyway. And I was made to like have the folder created, which I have done. But I suspect maybe current workloads. I was made to understand I will start maybe sometime December, January, but I suspect maybe current workloads might have meant mine have been pushed back, or maybe my follow-up emails. Maybe my follow-up emails have been going to spam, or you've created a filter to like ignore and delete this guy's email that's been disturbing me.
Mr. Richard, if he's speaking your language, it looks like he wants to speak your language. You want to give him some advice.
I mean, I can understand what he's asking.
See, I have seen and I've noted your name. We will be in touch. How about that?
Sounds like a good plan. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Okay, so given that you took the time out to give us this opportunity to ask you questions, I would always let you have the last say, and then we can thank the audience.
Thank you. I think this is also an opportunity for me to say thank you. I know it's been a long journey. And I think if I remember correctly, when I joined, the first thing, I think one of the things you said was, whilst people charge a lot of money, this is something you also do to help your community as well. And I think that comes through a lot when the case finally get picked up. And I think it's a good thing that you're doing. Compared to the prices I was quoted, the work that was required, and what Rhemma stood up to do for me, I think it's good. For the EB11, we'll look for $1 billion to come. We just need to think about that later. But no, thank you very much for helping me out.
Thank you. And then thank you all for having us here. If you want to reach out, you can do a search on the internet, rhemmaconsult.com. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we are not yet on WhatsApp, but we're on LinkedIn, Facebook, and then I think we're on YouTube, and then we also have our website there where you can see a lot of different success stories and some guidelines. It's been fun having you all here, and hope our paths cross again. One of the things that I always say is that you should start now, whether or not you are going to use the services of Rhemma Consult and you have aspirations of staying in the United States for long term. Definitely consider starting now. Read more about it. Reach out to people who have done and had success in this in the past, and then things should really work out. Thank you all, and then enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.